We departed Ottawa on the 14th of April at 4 p.m., cleared customs in Ogdensburg. At Ogdensburg, we closed our flight plan, received a full weather briefing, and then filed IFR and flew the Victor Airways at 10,000 feet non-stop to Albemarle, North Carolina, some 627 nautical miles in just under 4 hours. Once we got airborne and to altitude, we got a nice little push and did better than 170 knots. For the entire flight, we were either VFR or VFR on top, having to punch through a thin layer at 3,000 feet on approach into the airport. We waited in the dark at the airport outside a locked terminal building, freezing, for an hour for a taxi. April 15th, 2010. We lifted off just before 10 a.m. for the almost 500 nautical mile leg down to Vero Beach, Florida, touching down at 1 p.m. sharp. En route, most of our flight was again at 10,000 VFR on top with 15 minutes of IFR approach through some rain showers, ultimately setting up for a visual on 11 right. Ian went off to visit with a buddy, and Dad and I rented a car from Avis and headed off to Lakeland, Florida. The trip to Lakeland from Vero Beach was considerably further than the 1 hour pitch we were sold on. It took 3 hours to hop across the state. So we're in Lakeland. We're in Lakeland, and it's Thursday about 7:30, something like that. And we just went for a swim. And we're trying to figure out how to get over to the...
Continue 0.5 miles, then turn left on County Route 582.
Okay.
It really gets me that this sphere at 1,000 feet shrinks the equivalent of 30 gallons of water. 125 kilos. And that's the space, the volume of 30 gallons of water.
Just so you know, I come across it honestly.
You can hardly hear me in here.
Could use that for the snoring last night.
April 16th, 2010. Airborne just after 6 p.m. for what was supposed to be a very short 88 nautical mile flight down the east coast to Fort Lauderdale exec. Not so. Having lifted off VFR, we had to divert out over the sea to maintain VFR and then circle in a hole for several minutes while we waited for an IFR clearance to make it the last 7 miles into Lauderdale exec. We met up with several other air-challenged pilots, registered, and headed out for supper. When we called for the shuttle to return the 20-plus pilots back to the hotel, we were surprised how quickly the shuttle arrived. This too was funny. It took us to the wrong hotel, meaning we, all of us, climbed into the wrong shuttle. The driver didn't know what to do, but realized that we weren't getting out of his van, so somewhat reluctantly, he drove us across town to a competitor's hotel. April 17th, 2010. We suited up with our life jackets, strapped in, and lined up with some 20 other aircraft for a somewhat scheduled departure that went askew. After filing IFR, we lifted off for Exuma. 17 of the 20 aircraft departed VFR, and 3 of us filed IFR. One 79-year-old from the States did the whole trip at 13,500 on oxygen in his Cessna 210. For us, we were at 9,000, very uneventful, over top of a solid layer of cloud, topped around 8,000 feet for almost all of the flight. Took some nice pictures as the weather cleared closer to Exuma. While waiting for other pilots to arrive in Exuma, I had a Bahama beer, very similar to a Corona. We're staying on the beach in Georgetown at Peace and Plenty. It was our first chance to meet with all of the other attendees from all over the world. Dad won a coffee mug playing hoops with the locals in town. One toss. He handed the other 2 rings back to the fellow and said, "I don't need them." He had won on his first toss. Cocktails, free rum, free chicken wings all night. Everyone is having a wonderful time. A representative from the Bahama Tourism came in and gave us a 20-minute presentation on the history of the Bahamas. Very interesting. We celebrated Charlie's 65th birthday as a group. I talked the waiter and a waitress to come in on crutches, old crippled fart, and sing happy birthday to him. He really enjoyed it, but not nearly as much as Gwen.
Trio here tonight, a special night for a senior citizen who flew all the way to be here in Exuma tonight. Very nice. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Charlie. Happy birthday to you.
At the bar, the 2 Polish boys, now living in New Jersey, shared with us that they have just rented a 24-foot boat with 2 outboards. Want to come? You don't have to ask me twice. I was having an $8 drink with a couple from the States. Dad didn't want to go at first, but I talked him into it. Then I ran off to find Ian. Told him, "Grab your stuff, we're going boating."
So where are we? We're on in Exuma.
Yeah.
And we're across the bay from the.
What's the name of the island?
I forgot. I don't know.
Stock
Island. That's
Stock
it.
Island.
And we're going to have a pig sandwich here in a minute.
How's Celine?
So what was it? What was it called?
Conch salad. You take a conch. Well, it's those. You see those shells that are rough and they're about this big? Tomatoes, onions. Put a little bit of sea salt on it. A little bit of spice. Lots of orange juice, lime juice, and it's just out of this world.
Did you have some?
No, but I was watching the guys right beside me. I just. That's the way to do it. In the Bahamas, you can do it.
Same hotel y'all stay.
Life is good.
It is good.
Yeah. Where'd you guys come from?
Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, same place
Today?
you did.
Oh, cool.
We stayed at the same hotel y'all stayed at.
Oh, is that right, eh? What's your name?
I'm Greg Smith.
Well, nice to meet you. We're enjoying ourselves here.
So I was really hoping you guys would get Of course he's not.
Hang on, I'm taking video. Give it a kiss. Captain Mark, where we're going. Did you get the
Snorkeling.
Did you get the marine biologist to join us?
No. She said something that if Raphael is not going with her, she's not going.
So Raphael was part of the deal? Guys, I traded an apple for some alcohol. Raphael couldn't pull his weight?
No.
Yeah, we traded $40 for some alcohol.
Yeah, we put some money in there. We put some money in.
I forgot the $40.
And you know
how
much the apple costs over here, right? $60.
60 bucks, that's right. All the money's in the apple.
So you like 20
Here, it was my apple. They traded it away.
April 19th, 2010. Our nose wheel on Papa Uniform Lima was flat. It took 30 minutes to find someone who could fill it. We added air and watched it while we discussed whether or not we would land at Matthewtown Airport in Great Inagua as planned for fuel. We didn't need the fuel in Great Inagua. as we had the range to make Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. But there was a fuel stop and lunch available to accommodate all aircraft. What Great Inagua didn't have was any services. So if we did land there and we found the tire to be low, we would not be able to repair it and we would be stranded on the island. While we were discussing this, the tire went flat in front of us. With Dad and I on the tail of Papa Uniform Lima lifting the nose wheel, Ian removed the front wheel and split the rim. We found the tube had been pinched. While we were waiting for the tire to be fixed, I popped up to the tower to meet with the FSS. I gave them a couple of Nav Canada hats and got my picture taken with them. Their equipment was similar to what my dad was using on the DEW line in the 1950s. During this period, all but 3 other aircraft left for Great Inagua. One, a Beach Travel Air November 9349 Yankee. He decided to stay behind with us and fly with us in formation for the trip south. The 2 others, one being the Pilatus PC-12 November 221 X-ray that flew over from France the day before. He had a computer problem with the signal coming from his left tank, so he wasn't going anywhere. The last aircraft was a Piper Seneca, a Seneca 2 November 205 Bravo, with 2 FAA guys on board. Departing Exuma, we had to stay at 700 feet over the ocean for the first 20 minutes or so in order to stay VFR. Eventually, we were able to climb as high as 5,500 feet and then back down to 3,500 feet, always maintaining VFR. From then on, I worked 12275 on our second transceiver, relaying information to our aircraft in trail, as well as working Miami flight following, yes, even at 700 feet, on the number 1 transceiver. As we got closer to Great Inagua, I got a call from November 2005 Bravo, the Piper Seneca 2. He wanted me to provide flight following for him as he was unable to raise Miami. So he gave me his position report and estimated time for Great Inagua. I was copying this down while we were on left base for the airport. You need to keep both eyes open while on approach into Inagua, as the island is largely uninhabited and covered with 35,000 wild donkeys.
Okay, so where are we?
It's 96.
Wow. Warming up.
We're at the Great Inagua Airport on the island of Greater Inagua. And it's 96 Fahrenheit. We are hot. We are drinking water.
All your friends.
And I'm with all my friends all around me.
I'm over here.
Right over here.
There's a whole bunch of asses around.
Yeah.
And here we have our New Jersey crew.
New Jersey via Poland.
Yes, via Poland, yes. The gentleman took us out for an awesome boat ride yesterday.
Mark and Raphael.
I can prove it with my
burn. You have
Oh
burn.
yeah, all of us do. That was a great day.
During this period, 2005 Bravo arrived and asked if he could be the 3rd aircraft in our formation. I said yes and explained to him how we were going to work with 2 aircraft in trail and what kind of responses I would be expecting from him. His only responsibility would be to maintain separation from the number 2 aircraft. The number 2 aircraft's only responsibility would be to maintain separation from us, and our responsibility would be to navigate, maintain heading, altitude, and speed, communicate all clearances, changes in heading and altitude, as well as find a VFR path to our destination. This worked well for the entire flight. During the flight, due to outside air temperature as high as 100 Fahrenheit, we were unable to keep the radio stack cool enough, even with the stack blower on at all times, and we slowly lost our transmit on the number 2 radio. I could still receive on it, but not transmit. This meant every time I was switching from center, flight following, to our crew frequencies, I had to switch radios. To help the cooling, we shut down all other navigational equipment, VORs, ADFs, DMEs, as well as transponder. The only things we kept running were 2 auxiliary GPSs, both handheld unit GPSs, a 496 and a 296. They both performed flawlessly in the heat. At this time, I was speaking with Dominican Republic Center Controller on 26-9, requesting permission to enter their airspace as Canadian Charlie Fox Papa Uniform Lima +2. It was necessary to pass the equivalent of 3 entire flight plans of information to the Dominican Republic controller. While I was talking with Center, still over Haiti, we lost communication completely with our number 2 aircraft. Number 3, November 2005 Bravo, pulled aside number 2 to see if we could see what the problem was. They were not responding to wing wag requests at all. I kept checking in with number 3 to see if we were making any progress. Then I was back with Center to notify him that one of us is flying Nordo. But they are all in tight formation directly behind us, and I'm sure they will continue to follow me with whatever clearance you provide. November 9, 3949 Yankee did come back, so he was no longer Nordo. Meanwhile, our number 2 radio failed completely in the heat, and we lost satellite weather as the Garmin's external satellite antenna overheated. 40 back from Mike Delta Juliet Bravo, I asked Center for straight in on runway 19 if able, as that would be the easiest for the 3 in formation to arrive. I was granted the request, and the 3 of us arrived in Santo Domingo. Our plan today was to just cover 49 nautical miles north to Constanza. We heard the day before that if you want to get up into Constanza, elevation 3,952 feet, and surrounded by mountains, you have to leave early as the clouds come in, obscuring the entrance to the airport. The Constanza airport is almost not used. It has about 1 movement a week. Due to our arrival, the Dominican Republic brought in 2 air traffic controllers for our visit. We received a briefing on how to approach the airport, not direct. The airport at 4,000 feet is surrounded by mountains as high as 10,000 feet. Frequently, the mountains are obscured in clouds. The briefer, the chief ATC I met the night before, suggested that we track northwest 32 nautical miles on a heading of 320 to a small town called Bonao. At that time, at approximately 7,000 feet or higher, turn left to a heading of 279 for an additional 15 nautical miles into the Constanza Valley. If the cloud bases are not at least at 7,000 feet, turn back, as you will not be able to make it into the valley. As we approached the valley, the clouds were exactly at 7,000 feet, giving us a couple hundred feet between the top of the ridges we need to pass and the base of the cloud. As we passed over the last ridge and started to descend into the Constanza Valley, we had at least 3 other aircraft as immediate traffic, all slower than we were. The pattern was right hand for 08 due to mountains on the north side of the field. We had what looked like a Cessna in front of us, and with the mountains so close, you can only widen out the circuit so much for spacing. Just feet off the runway, we requested a landing clearance and got one. With no time to backtrack due to traffic on final behind us, we pulled off on a service road and shut down. April 21st, 2010. Today was a super day. We jumped in the back of a truck with padded side chairs and traveled 2 hours into the jungle on a single-lane, steep dirt road to see Agua Blanca, a waterfall located at 5,673 feet above sea level, over 1,700 feet higher than Constanza. The drive was amazing, very rough and very slow. April 22nd, 2010. The game plan today is to make it to San Juan, Puerto Rico. On departure, we had to shuttle climb over Constanza to gain enough altitude to climb out at 9,500 feet. Right at the international border, we descended from 9.5 down to 3.5 and lower to be below the cloud deck as we entered Puerto Rico. This would make it possible to see the world-famous Arecibo Observatory. As we approach the dish, due to low ceilings, we are within 800 feet of the ground to stay clear of cloud.
Awesome landing. Everybody knows you did the landing. How's your flight?
Very good.
Wonderful. We listened to you all the way across the ocean.
Oh, did you?
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Terry, how was it?
Oh, it was beautiful. 95,000, smooth as they got 9,500, sorry.
Yes.
Smooth as
Video, but video works. Oh, this is better than the picture. How's it going?
Great.
Good flight?
Very interesting flight.
Ooh, there's a story here. He says very interesting flight.
Yeah, we could not get hold of tower or understand the tower from San Domingo for frequency.
April 23rd, 2010. Beautiful flight along the north coast and then north to Turks and Caicos, although the flight was warm. As it turned out, along with Exuma, Grand Turk was one of our favorite stops.
Okay, we're in Turks and Caicos, and it's early in the morning on, might be Saturday, I'm not really sure what date it is actually. And so this is our room, and Dad and Ian are in number 5, which is just down here, and we're right next door to the a couple fellows from, I think, Equasia or something. Oh dear. Anyway, we're all going scuba diving this morning.
Good morning.
There you go. There's Bill. And we had an interesting little find there in the bed this morning, and so we're gonna have the maids come and clean it up. I don't know what it is. We don't know if it's bugs or if it's bug droppings, but I guess it's the price you pay for living in such an incredible area.
This is the best place so far.
Yeah, there you go. And where are we?
We are in Paradise, Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, I'm coming back here.
Yep, absolutely.
This is Richard. We went diving today.
We went diving today. Had a great time.
Yeah. You know what? Divers are just like airplane pilots. They're always talking like this.
Going like this, yeah.
Same thing with divers. They got their hands going.
French Canadians.
Yeah, French Canadians talk with their hands. Maybe you have some French history there.
So this is Saturday, right?
Is it?
We have nobody knows.
We're back on the ground at Exuma. We were heading north to the northern Bahamas, and we couldn't make it today because of weather. We were getting, we had sent out 4 scout aircraft out of the 21 aircraft. We had sent out 4 scout aircraft to move ahead and take a look at the weather at our flight plan destination. And then we sent out the slower aircraft and then the rest of us. And as we started making our way closer to our destination, we found that Miami radio was basically telling us, turn back, 1-inch hail, thunderstorms, the whole bit. Now, the weather radar in the aircraft was also showing significant weather, but it was showing it to be about 100 to 200 nautical miles north of our final destination. Anyway, one of the aircraft got within 25 miles and had to divert. He was right down to 500 feet over the ocean, getting thrown around, and so we ended up diverting to Exuma, and all 60 members made it into Exuma without any issue. Tied the aircraft down, and surprisingly, we were able to get accommodations at the Peace and Plenty, which is where we stayed a week earlier. And we've been sitting in the pool the last 2 hours. It's been fantastic. And I'm going to show you here, the weather is just starting to move in, and it is significant. So we'll just take a quick gander at that. So we've had a change in weather in the last 15 minutes, fairly significant, and I suspect that we'll be getting, I don't think we're going to get the heavy part of the storm here, but I do believe that we're going to be getting some heavy rain, and I might have quite a lightning show tonight. So the plan for tomorrow is Fort Pierce and then straight north, probably with 1 fuel stop. And there is another weather system somewhere in the neighborhood of New York, but we're hoping to get around that. And we'll touch base tomorrow. It's about 8 o'clock at night, and we're at, I think it's called Peace and Plenty in Exuma, Bahamas. And we just finished the dinner. We're actually waiting for dessert right now. And I just thought I'd show you a little bit of outside. We're planning on flying home tomorrow. We have quite the storm going on right now. Oh, I got that one.
Fun brain. So the 6A is exactly the same thing with a shorter wing as the 9A.
I know, yeah.